Stocks down for the day. The S&P 500 down 1.52%. The NASDAQ 100 way down 2.30%. Gold also down 0.61%. Bonds way up 1.23%. Let's jump in first, as we always do, with the S&P 500. Big candle, the biggest candle we've seen in several months, down for the week. We see the derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum after having lost it for many weeks, and that price percent oscillator ticking over, heading even stronger down as we head toward Christmas. We go from the weekly to the 2-day, and of course, first day of this latest 2-day candle, another strong down candle appears to be forming. Price percent oscillator moving down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Go to that 4-hour chart. What do we see there? Well, we haven't gotten the pullback we've been waiting for. We see that, again, we had, as far as the the morning, we saw that it was up a little bit. Then in the afternoon, a bit of a struggle between the bulls and the bears. We've got a down candle, but it's got an up wick on it and a down wick. Derivative oscillator is pretty much flat. Price percent oscillator heading down. So again, waiting for that pullback to occur so we can find a safe and appropriate jumping in point. Some of you did ask, what did it look like on the 2-hour chart? Did that provide anything to us? Again, rather difficult. We don't like to try to force things and resort to another chart just to find an entry point. So a little squirrely what we saw happen as far as things went in the morning and then back down in the afternoon. So I would say no. Again, patience is the key, my friends. Just wait. Let the charts set up properly so you can get in. You don't have to make every trade. First rule, don't lose money. Second rule, make money. And I guess really the primary rule is be patient, use your knowledge. Okay, let's go from the S&P 500 to the Qs. Like we said, down big time, 2.30%. I keep leading that with a 3. But anyway, 2.30%. And so far, of course, for the week, we have a big, strong down candle forming. Price percent oscillator clicking over, heading at even a steeper angle down. Derivative oscillator continuing to lose downward momentum. We go to the 2-day chart. And of course, that 2-day crossover happened on the last completion of the last 2-day candle. Derivative oscillator flipped at the same time the price percent oscillator did. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Price percent oscillator also heading down strongly. And we go to the 4-hour chart. And of course, we can see things really tick off the deep end. And again, we had sort of a squirrely, weird thing in the afternoon. We had a green up a doji in the morning. Means indecision tending up. And then in the afternoon, we had this wick on top. We haven't seen a top wick with all the down movement. So again, bulls and bears fighting it out a little bit, but again, strong down strongly, and a long wick on the bottom. Red down candle, price percent oscillator spiked over, going down. Derivative oscillator about flat, heading down a little bit. So again, waiting for a pullback there to see when there might be an opportunity to safely jump into a down move. Remember, you don't want to catch a knife that is falling. That's the reason we wait for appropriate jumping in points. It's easy to jump in at the exact wrong time. If you're looking for jumping into an inverse move, you don't want to jump in when things have hit the bottom. And of course, in an up move, you don't want to jump in when things have hit the top. That's why we wait for appropriate jumping in points, and that is the reverses that we look for on that 4-hour chart. And then a continuation of the same pattern. So let's go to TLT 20-year bonds up 1.32%, and we look at that weekly chart going into the 6th week of strong up movement. Price percent oscillator spiking up, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. We go from the weekly to the 2-day. And of course, we see the price percent oscillator spiking up again, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. And of course, this first day of this latest 2-day candle, big, strong up candle as things, we were worried about things sort of topping out somewhere around the 118, 119 mark. Well, it's blown past that, which is nice to see. And we go from the 2-day chart to the 4-hour. And of course, We did have things, as we told you, to watch. Crossover going up in the morning. Of course, your jumping in point was in the afternoon. Hopefully, you took advantage of that, and you looked at around noon and jumped in as appropriate on that 4-hour chart. Hopefully, you're doing a practice trade there on TLT, and we'll see how long that runs for us. But again, told you about that the last few days to be watching for it, and it came to fruition for us. So we go from bonds to gold. Gold down 0.61% for the day. Going to the third week, it appears, of up movement. Derivative oscillators lost a little bit of momentum. Price percent oscillator going up about the same angle it did over the prior week. And we go from the weekly on gold to the 2-day. And what do we see there? Again, appears to be sort of flattening out, hitting about that same point around 118 or so. And we see the first day of this latest 2-day candle, price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator is losing momentum. And we go from the 2-day to the 4-hour. And of course, we had things cross over, and now we've had them cross back over going down. They popped up and then crossed back over. So again, that down movement, the way it finished the day at 0.61%, no jumping in point there after it popped over. Things rolled over in the afternoon. So again, we'll wait and see. Gold does appear extremely weak over the last day. So we'll just watch things, see what happens. If things bobble around there and pop back over going up, derivative oscillator still positive. We'll see if we have a jumping in point. But we did in 20-year bonds, and still looking for a rollback in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 so we can have a jumping in point. If you've not purchased our book, please go ahead and do so. We'll be sending them out all the way till Christmas, and we'll try our best to get them to you as soon as you place that order. Sent out a whole bunch today. So if you haven't ordered our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth, and understand fully what we do here, please do so. And if you want to support us on Patreon, a lot of good gifts there for you also. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.